Hello YouTube and welcome back to JimmyBob25, and today we'll be going over the motorsport news for February 2026. Yes, this is the first news for the year, so don't forget to like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. You know what to do, and let's get into the video. So, let's dive in head first with the supercars news, followed by the Bathurst 12 hour and other motorsport news that has gone on throughout the month of February. So, first of all, the commentary team has changed. So, the broadcast team for the supercars have had an overhaul, with Garth Tander stepping into the lead commentator role / lead analyst, with Chad Nalon, Matt Nolte, and Richard Cryle as the supporting commentators. They'll be on a racely rotation. Honestly, it's only been the Adelaide 500, but I quite like Chad Nalon. He's the only name on this list I actually recognize. Yep. He's the only name in the commentary team other than Garth Tander that I actually recognize and actually know. So, I would like it if it was him the whole way, but that's just me. So, the pit lane crew has had changes as well, with Craig Lowndes and James Courtney joining Mark Winterbottom, Mark Larkham, Molly Taylor, Rena, and Jess Yates as the pit lane team. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we would get some faces back in with the team for the enduro events, because Craig Lowndes is driving the Team 18 wildcard. James Courtney is driving the number 26 Renault. Actually, no, that's Kai Allen. Whatever number Reynolds is, he's driving with Reynolds, I believe. And Mark Winterbottom is driving with Cam Waters, I believe. So we'll see how this commentary team goes. I'm very happy to see Larko still there. He is one of the better commentators, I would say. Like, don't get me wrong, the commentators that we've got now are great. But I think Larko, in terms of like explaining stuff and all that, is the best. We've also have new TV graphics, which are more like Formula 1. So, how I feel about them is there's positives and there's negatives. Positive is that it looks cleaner than what it was, plus also the they've got now the team icons down the side with KOS for Kostecki or BRO or something like that for Will Brown, or something like that. It's going to be interesting in the Enduros though, because of obviously the names switching. normally they've got a green light on the totem to signify that it is a second driver in the car. Whether they're gonna have that this year or not, I don't know. But one negative I do have about it is they've gotten rid of the Hino hub. Well, at least they've made changes to it. I'm running off script here, so I do not. I'm just going off haywire with this. But yeah, they made changes to the Hino hub, which normally Larko would do it, but actually no, it was Neil Crompton last year. So I don't know. Toyota has finally now officially joined the supercars grid in the way of Walkinshaw TWG and BJR, and will be the third manufacturer on the supercars grid, joining Ford and the Camaros. There are five teams that are well, there's 5 cars that are Toyotas, 11 cars that are Fords, and 8, I believe they said, of Camaros. So yeah, this year will be interesting. We've already had one car blow up, which was the which was Jaime's car on the Saturday race. But then on one of the 3 races, we had 3 out of the 5 Toyotas in the top 10. So they are a decent enough race car. They will fit in. I'm not going to say perfectly, but they are going to fit in. So yeah. The calendar has now expanded to 14 rounds and 37 races, with the inclusion of the Christchurch Super 440. So, as I'm trying to bring up the calendar now, we are lucky enough, I'm gonna say, because we do actually have more races now. With supercars bringing back Ratapata Raceway, I don't know. It's over in New Zealand, so I'll run you through the calendar. So the race weekend that just went past, 20th to 22nd of February, is the Sydney 500. Then we move on to the Melbourne Super Sprint, which will include the Australian Grand Prix as well, which there is a dedicated Formula 1 video coming out eventually. And then the 10th to 12th of April, we go to New Zealand with the Taupo Super 440 and the Christchurch Super 440. Like a weekend after that, so the 17th and the 19th. And then we go down south to Tasmania with 22nd to the 24th of May. And then we go from one side of the country all the way to the other, with the Better Darwin Triple Crown, the 19th to the 21st of January. June. And then we go to Townsville, which is the 10th to 12th of July. Then all the way back down to Perth for the Perth Super 440, which is on the 31st of July to the 2nd of August. And then we go to the paperclip, which I'm hoping I'm going to be there again this year. So it's the 21st to the 23rd of August. And then we move on to the Ryco Endurance Cup with the AirTouch Bend 500 and on the 11th to 13th of September. And then 8th to 11th is the big one, the Repco Bathurst 1000. Again, I'm hoping to be there again this year and not corrupt any of my files. That way I can actually get videos out to you guys. And then we move on to the finals, which is the 23rd to the 25th of October at the Gold Coast 500. Then we go to Sandown for the Penrite Oils Sandown 500, which is the 13th to 15th of November. And then we end the year at Adelaide with the 3rd to the 6th of December. So, pretty drawn out calendar. You probably could condense it. Like, me personally, I wouldn't mind seeing more races as a supercars fan, because then we get to actually, then we actually get to see more races. Like Formula One, yes, they are global, but they've got 24 races this year. So, race weekends. So, I'd like to see that, but you do you. Supercars, you do you. Don't listen to a small YouTuber. On the Saturday night race of the Sydney 500, Anton won the race with Stex and Matty Payne on the podiums. It went number 18, 17, 19, which is a detail that I decided to add in. Brock Feeney won the other two races as well, with, I believe, Matty Payne and Brock Feeney tied for first position in the standings. So, things are looking spicy already. On the Saturday night race as well, both 888 cars got 15-second time penalties. Feeney for an unsafe release, and Will Brown for spinning tyres in the air. Both were under the same safety car. They had to double stack because of Jaime's engine deciding that it would not like to live anymore. And it was something. And then finally for supercars, the support categories had to use the shorter layout, which was entertaining. I did watch as much support categories as I could, but the Porsches weren't there, so kind of discouraged me from watching it a little bit. But all in all, pretty good racing all around. They had TA2s, actually no, not TA2s. They had Grand Touring Masters. They had Super 2. They had V8 Utes, and then I believe they had a few more as well. So now we get onto the big one, the one that's going to take up majority of this video. The Mercedes. I was starting to read it out. The Bathurst 12 Hour. What a race it was. We had, I forgot how many safety cars, but I believe we had like 8 safety cars and 1 red flag, which I will be debriefing and looking over it all here shortly. But yeah, it it was a good race. I didn't I didn't get up early enough to actually see the start of the race. Um, I joined when there was like 8 or 9 hours left to go. So, but the Mercedes AMG Team GRM, driven by, and I'm sorry if I butcher these sayings, these names, but Marl Engel, Mika Ganin, and Maxine Martin. Again, I'm so sorry. Wins a chaotic Bathurst 12-hour, writing themselves into the record books by winning winning the race when they started P29, and P2 also started in the same row, and they got back up to second, and the previous record stood at P11. So, pretty interesting stuff. This is the big one. This is where I'm going to lose my voice probably. So the 2026 Bathurst 12-hour featured multiple crashes, including a red flag, which hasn't been seen since 2018. The crashes include the number 63 HRT Ford Mustang, driven by Christopher Miles, hit a kangaroo on Conrad Straight on lap 3 in the opening minutes of the race, causing the first safety car. Later on, another crash. Well, Jimmy Golding decided that he wouldn't want to race anymore and crashed into the corner coming up to the grate. So his number 268 Audi R8 lost the rear going into the grate, running into the wall and bursting into flames. Thankfully, Jimmy Golding was alright. So it was a pretty hectic crash, and same with the other one, which was like few laps later, which was the red flag. Unfortunately, I was so bored, I was watching YouTube. No joke. I was watching YouTube, and then I got back onto the broadcast. I was like, oh, hold on. There's a red flag here. What's happened here? So, now, finally, if I find where we are, there we are. Finally, we have the red flag. The number 779 Porsche originally hit the wall coming out of McPhillamy Park. Actually, no, that was misinformation. It was the grate. During a wave-by procedure, he slowed, causing a traffic jam behind him. On the run out of the dipper to Forest Elbow, Cameron Waters, driving the number 222, got past, and Kai Allen, driving the number 100 Penrite Oils entry, tried to do the same. However, Kai Allen tagged the 79, causing him to spin at Forest Elbow. As the lead lap drivers came through, the lapped cars were trying to get out of the way. The majority of them did get out of the way beforehand, but there was an Aston Martin still there. And yeah. The race leader, number 77, had radio issues. So he wasn't told. And he hit the sideways Porsche at racing speeds, causing the Porsche to spin around and burst into flames. Editor, roll the clip. So, I'm gonna show you the track and everything, what happened in a minute. But there were questions that had to be raised. There were questions to be raised after the Bathurst 12 hour. The most notable one was, where were the yellow flags? If you would have if it was hard to see, but if you saw if you're looking at the flag marshal posts, they were they were in line with each other, which is the standard procedure. But then number flag marshal post 17 was waving yellow flags, and that was at the corner. So the number 77 had no time to react. What should have happened was the number flag marshal post 16. I believe I got those posts off of YouTube. They should have been waving yellow flags as well, but I will run through this in a segment playing now.
Alright, so as a bit of an explanation on what happened, and what I was talking about in the video. So, when you're driving down through the, coming down to Forest Elbow, you're already in the, Mustang GT3, you're already grip limited, as I find out so many times. Like, even in this example, I spun out and I crashed. But you don't need to see that. So, what happens here is this flag marshal post that we're coming up to now should have been waving the yellow flags. It's up to their discretion whether they want to wave the yellow flags or not. As you can see here, from this point of view, the flag marshal point 16 has direct view to flag marshal point 17. They should have seen the yellow flag and been like, oh, okay, I probably should wave a yellow flag because there's a car coming. But no, they continued down full speed. Obviously, I take a different racing line compared to the actual drivers. This one I can't simulate having a yellow flag ahead of time. But you're rounding the corner. As you can see, I'm on the limit. I'm coming in at 158 k's per hour in third gear, almost hitting the rev limiter. Sorry, that was my alarm. So, if I just quickly bring it back a touch. When you're driving here, you see that yellow flag there. There's no time to react whatsoever. Because if I just speed it up... that's the wrong way. Again, I take a different line to the actual racing drivers. I flick the car around a lot more than what I've seen on TV. So Porsche right there, bang, into the wall. So I'll bring it back for you guys one more time, that way you can see it clearly. First, so again, flag marshal point 17. They were waving the yellows. This car that we're in, which is the 72, the hypothetical 72, has no radio communication at all. I take a proper racing line through here now. Ever since I've sorted out my issue with the vehicle deciding to jump sideways. It still does, but I've figured it out. But about there, that's when I would have hit the Porsche. And as you can see, I'm still going 151 k's per hour. Slamming into the Porsche and sending it sideways, catching it on fire. So, that is a bit of an explanation. Let's get back on with the video.
So, now, let's get on to the other news, because I've been yapping way too much about GT cars. So, MotoGP gets moved from from Phillip Island, where they were. I believe it's Phillip Island. They get moved from Phillip Island back down to, well, not, excuse me. They get moved down to Adelaide, to the Adelaide Parkland circuit. Is it really the best idea to be racing motorbikes around a street circuit? I would say no, because, like, the walls are so tight and they're moving so fast that all they have to do, just lean over a bit too much and the bike falls out from underneath them, and they just go straight into a wall. Obviously there's gonna be more protective measures and all that, but I don't really like this, to be honest. They should have just kept it at Phillip Island, or, as Catcraft F1 would really like, shout out to him, move it to the Bend. The Bend, if you're going to move it, the Bend is actually, now coming to think of it, the most logical place. But, like, me personally, I haven't watched much MotoGP. So I can't really make my own takes about it. But, yeah, it's just questions. Questions. Final one for today. Albert Park is gonna get its Turn 6 renamed to Her Corner. Why? Why Her Corner? Like, I keep saying this example to my friends, but imagine it's lap 1 of the Australian Grand Prix. The commentators are calling out what's going on. They're going through turn 6. Oh yeah, here comes the grid coming through Her Corner. They've changed the name because of Esteban's Ocon race engineer Laura Muller, and I believe I got that correct, and Red Bull's head of strategy Hannah Schmitz. I'm sorry if I butchered that as well. This is due to the partnership between Engineers Australia and Australian Grand Prix Corporation. They announced it to signify World Women's Day, I believe. Don't quote me on that, though. But they could have named Turn 5. If they really wanted to, they could have named Turn 5 Muller Corner and Turn 6 Schmitz Corner. Better. Like, yes, it's not perfect, but if you're gonna name it like that, because Her Corner just does not roll. I get that Muller Corner as well doesn't really roll. Schmitz Corner, I actually wouldn't mind that. Schmitz Corner. Oscar Piastri going through Schmitz Corner. I actually quite like that. But yeah, so I I don't understand it. I really don't. But yeah. Anyway, guys, that's all the news for supercars and other news. I will have a dedicated video for Formula One coming out next week. So I'll hope to see you then. Don't forget to like, subscribe to both Jimmy Bob 25 and Jimmy Bob 25 Motorsports. And we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.